probably got interested in engineering at an early age, control cars and toys, things like that. And I was always taking them apart and rebuilding them, making Frankenstein toys out of two things, you know, trying to make them faster or better or bigger. So the first Star Wars film I watched was actually Empire Strikes Back. I was probably about 8 or something like that, and I remember watching the film and thinking, I have no idea what was going on. However, there was one scene that stood out, which was these four-legged machines walking across the snow. They're called ATATs. And I walked out of the cinema going, machines that walk. I honestly couldn't believe it. I'd never thought about that before. And that was pretty much it. That inspired me, and that set me going, I think, on this fascination with walking machines. But after about a year at university, I realised I wasn't really academically inclined. I was much better at learning on my own and practically. And I got offered a job with a film company as a model maker, and I left. I'm not saying leave university, but it worked for me. I was on a television advert one day for Jim Henson's Creature Shop, and I was bored on set, and I just thought, you know, there wasn't much to do. And I started to think about walking machines again, and I've never built one, so I thought maybe give it a go. And it started there, and I started building small machines about so big, hexapods, so 6 legs. And eventually I built about 20-odd machines of varying size and different approaches to them. Then I got approached by a company that had seen a YouTube video of my hexapods in action. Basically, I got some investment to build a 2-ton machine to see what the issues would be and whether we could commercialise that side of things, but also as a creative engineering project at the same time. A simple breakdown of how it works is you have a diesel engine, which is the power plant. That's connected to a hydraulic pump, which supplies hydraulic fluid around the system. On each leg there are 3 actuators, hydraulic actuators, that move each joint of the leg. And then basically a computer monitors the position of each leg, of each joint. And that information is fed back to a central computer, and that computer knows how to move the legs in a gate, so that in a sequence. So I don't have to think about that. In the operator, all I have to do is push forwards on a joystick, and the computer commands the legs into position, and hopefully it never trips up. Yeah, I mean, the Mantis was both high point and a low point, to be honest. You know, it was a dream project, but it was a really difficult build, and I knew very little about hydraulics when I started this project, and this is a really complex hydraulic machine. So that was a huge learning curve, which I found fascinating, but you know, there was massive low points in it as well, because you know, it didn't always go right. A lot of the time I was working on my own, so everything that went wrong I had to fix. There's no one else I could just go, oh, maybe you could sort that out for me. I had to do it. And then since then, I guess the high point for me was probably working on Star Wars Episode 7, because, you know, as a kid I loved Star Wars, and Star Wars was part of the reason I got fascinated in walking machines, so it's kind of come full circle. So we won an award for our work on BB-8 for Star Wars, myself and another engineer. And we had a very nice email from J.J. Abrams, the director, congratulating us. And I sent him back a picture, which was me on Christmas Day with my granddad. I was about 11 years old, and I'm pulling an ATAT out of its box, you know, its walking machine, and that was my inspiration. And I sent it off to J.J., and he sent me an email back saying he's got the same picture, you know, from Christmas Day. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, hey Sam, look at this. Look how big my lighter is.
What'd you say?
Oh. I've never really had any sort of formal education as far as like, here's a class on how to specifically build point A to point B. It's always been like, I got this broken thing. What can I make out of this? So my best thing to just tell you is just don't be afraid to try to make something.
My name is Kevin Scott. I'm part of the UK Monowheel team, and the record is world's fastest monowheel motorcycle. The UK Monowheel team got together, 4 of us, and we said, what can we do? What's practical? And we went away and we looked around and we found that Kevin McLean in America is the only guy in the world that's got these things working properly, and he held the world record at 57 miles an hour. And we thought, how hard can that be? Driving a monowheel, it's not like anything else that you can imagine. It's probably closer to flying than driving anything. You have nothing to steer with. You pull away and the front rises up. And that's like a motorbike doing a wheelie. That's fairly normal. And then steering. It's really hard to steer, and that's where we're still learning how to steer. And then you've got to slow the thing down. And you put the brakes on, and the front drops, and the back comes up, and it's very unstable when it's slowing. So, but it's fantastic, and it just puts a smile on your face. When you achieve something, it puts a smile on your face. When people see us riding the monowheel, there's two types. Some of them don't get it, and they just ask why. But most of them, by far most of them, they totally understand that it's something that's so unique and so special, and they want to ride it. But it takes a lot of time and practice, but it really puts a smile on everybody's face. It lasts for ages. When you get the thing up to serious speed, and that's anything over 40 miles an hour, it actually gets easier to ride. It becomes very stable, all the gyro forces make it stable, and all you've got to do is concentrate on keeping it straight, and the wind pushes it, keeping it straight, you're looking a quarter of a mile ahead, and yeah, of course there's adrenaline going, but you're far more concentrating on keeping it right in the middle of that track, and then getting ready to slow down at the end. We are tuning it, we are developing it for more, so we've got a bit in our back pocket, but at the moment we're just enjoying being the world record holders.
With a height of 8.465 meters and a length of 4.27 meters and a width of 4 meters, I'm delighted to announce that Sakachibara Chikai's Mononofu has achieved the Guinness World Records title for the largest humanoid vehicle. Congratulations, you're officially amazing. おめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
The love of speed is a strange one, really. I'm not quite sure if it's an adrenaline thing. I think mainly it's more of a bug that you get. Addiction, you could say, really. Well, when I was growing up, I've always been into, engineering and making things, working in the workshop till late. My inspirations to make things faster, my speciality that I sort of like to think that I'm good at is making things go fast that shouldn't go fast. This go-kart is the world's fastest go-kart, jet-powered go-kart. There's been quite a few up and downs along the journey, mainly things setting on fire, blowing up, exploding, things like that, things that shouldn't happen, but sometimes do. It's a homemade jet engine. It's fitted with an afterburner, which you're probably more used to on jet fighters and stuff like that. They use an afterburning system which basically injects a load of fuel back into the exhaust nozzle of the engine, and it reignites the fuel mixture, and that generates a lot of power, a lot of thrust and a lot of noise. It's really nice when things go well. Not only do we get the satisfaction of things actually working, which is rare for us, also there's a good feeling of knowing you've achieved something from not very much really to achieve a big thing like being in the Guinness World Records. So yeah, it's a very nice feeling to have.
My name is Jason Barnes, and I hold the Guinness World Records title of most drum beats in 1 minute with a prosthetic arm. I've been playing drums since I was 14 years old. In January 2012, I was involved in an electrical accident at work, which resulted in me being hospitalized for over a month and ultimately the amputation of my right hand. After my accident, I drug my drums out and taped a drumstick to my residual limb, and that's when my life changed forever, and I knew that my passion for drumming was not over. So about a year after I lost my arm, I applied to Atlanta Institute of Music for drums and percussion. During my time at Atlanta Institute of Music, I had an idea to develop a more advanced robotic version of my drum arm, which is when I got in contact with Gil Weinberg, and he was extremely interested considering his field in music technology.
Hi, I'm Gil Weinberg. I'm a professor and director of Georgia Tech Center for Music Technology. My research involves envisioning and developing and researching new robotic musicians. Some of them are separate entities, like Shimon, and some of them are wearable robots or cyborgs, like the prosthetic arm. I heard about Jason from his drum teacher, Eric Sanders, who told me about Jason's accident and that he's trying to develop his own prosthetic arm, but needs some robotic expertise.
So the way the arm works is there's EMG sensors built in which pick up electrical signals from a residual limb and then send a signal to the computer and make the sticks react accordingly. The other thing the arm can do is it has a second stick which can improvise and play patterns whenever it sees fit. The third thing the arm can do is each stick can play 20 hits per second with a combined 40 hits per second. The arm has changed my life in many ways. Just the fact that it's given me the ability to use my wrist and fingers again, and not only that, it's also given me the capability to do things that are inhumanly possible.
For me, working with Jason was the first time that I actually saw how my ideas and robots can change a person's life. Up until meeting Jason's, I developed separate entity robots, which was fun to play with. But when we actually have Jason with the arm, with part of his body, extending how he played, bringing back what he lost, but much more than that, that's a really great feeling. When I watch and listen to Jason, this is really exciting because I can see how he is not only exploring and trying to bring back what he lost, he is taking this technology and see what he can do that he couldn't do before.
The types of reactions that I get from the audience and the crowd are kind of a love-hate relationship. Some people really love it and love what the technology can do, and some people don't like the robotic aspect because they think robots will take over the world. To hold a Guinness World Records title feels completely amazing, and it's honestly something I'd never thought I would achieve in my life.
So this is one of the most cruel of my creations. It's a Rubik's Cube that changes color depending on where you look at it from. I made it using lenticular printing. And when you scramble it, well, you don't really know which parts go where, so it's extremely difficult to solve. So my name's Greg, I'm 23 years old, and I'm a mechanical engineer, and all right, you're gonna put that in the outtakes as well? I'm a French mechanical engineer, and for 8 years now, I've been designing Rubik's Cubes. A friend of mine was solving the Rubik's Cube, and I really wanted to try that, and I learned to solve it, and it was actually much easier than I expected. I tried other Rubik's Cubes because there are many variants, and the thing is, it was always the same thing, so I wanted to try something new, a new challenge, and since I was also interested in 3D design, I figured I should try to mix the two and invent new Rubik's Cubes, new challenges. So I decided to go with the most popular in my domain, which is puzzle design, and I created the largest, or at least highest order Rubik's Cube in the world. In 2014, actually, I started creating the 3D design to get it 3D printed. And the thing is, I saw that the price was over $7,000, so I didn't really have the money at the time. And now I figured I have a full-time job, I have a YouTube channel that works, so I actually found a sponsor. Overall, the complete process, so including design and everything, it was 25 hours of design and an overall time of 205 hours for assembly, stickering, and everything. So it was a lot of work. It's kind of heavy. It's actually exactly half the weight of my cat. There's over 6,000 parts in there, 6,153, and there's over 6,500 stickers, so solving it is a complete nightmare, and it's really heavy, so you actually have to put it on the table if you want to turn it. Most people who solve the Rubik's Cube, at least those who know how to solve a 7x7, which isn't essentially much more difficult than the 3x3, would know how to solve this. Except the only problem is time, because it's not hard to solve, but it just takes time. It's the same thing over and over and over again. That one would take about 300 hours to solve. So everything that's on the top shelf and underneath that shelf is 3D printed. These are things that I designed, and this is what I collect, because I also collect things that are made by other people. So this one is one of my favorites. I released it the day before the world record. It's actually just a tetrahedron with a lot of layers. It's the equivalent of a Rubik's Cube with 13 layers. And this is one of my most complex designs. It actually has gears that make the top half and the bottom half turn in opposite directions in regards to the middle layer. This is actually something that my sticker supplier and I created together for the World Championships in Paris this summer, and it's actually a functional 2x2 Eiffel Tower. So a friend of mine who actually made a modification that I own also gave me this fidget spinner as a gift, which looks just like a Rubik's Cube, and that's really cool. And after he made and sent me that fidget spinner, I decided to make one as well that looks like a Rubik's Cube, but completely. So this is a functional Rubik's Cube fidget spinner. So this is something that I designed that was mass-produced recently. It's called the multi-cube, and there's actually a cube on the outside, which is corner turning, and there's one on the inside, which is corner turning as well, and the two are linked. So when you turn the outside, the inside turns with it. But solving the outside does not necessarily mean solving the inside. So this is actually the smallest one that I've ever made. It's called the Square One. It's actually a competition item, and it can be used in competition. This is actually valid, but it's not the same as the Rubik's Cube, and you don't solve it the same way. So I think the reason why this community is growing and why people like the Rubik's Cube is that it really appeals to their compulsive need for order. Like when you see someone who sees a mixed up Rubik's Cube, they're obviously going to try to solve it because they want everything to be well finished and they want all the colors to be on their respective faces. And I think the second reason is maybe, well, a bit of showing off, because when they see people solving the Rubik's Cube really fast, they're like, oh, I should know how to do this myself. I want to learn how to do that. And then that's maybe why they're gonna try to learn how to solve it. I think it's really that need for self-satisfaction.
My name is Kevin Nix. I'm the creator of the world's fastest shed, which I already held a Guinness World Record of 105 miles an hour. I've made a few more modifications and today I've managed to exceed that and I've set a new Guinness World Record for over 106 miles an hour. I am thrilled to bits. Have a quick look at it and I'll show you how we did it. If you want to have a look under the bonnet, it's powered by 4.2 litre Audi RS4, 455 brake horsepower. I've also made some modifications for aerodynamics. Something you probably, the two words don't go together, aerodynamics and shed. Do they work? I went faster. Door locks, it's all quite trick. Have a look inside. I've now driven over 47,000 miles on this on the road. It is incredibly comfortable. Oh, it's got quite a few little tricks. It also full hydraulic suspension. Quick look in the back. Bit of a mess at the minute. I've got double bed, that all comes down because when I'm at these race events like this one, it's really comfortable to sleep in. I built this about 5 years ago now. But since then I've gone on to do some other things. I have got the Barrow of Speed, which today I set the first ever Guinness World Record for a motorised wheelbarrow, and I did 45 miles an hour. All this is officially timed.
Hi, I'm Andy Holt. Welcome to my hawk's nest. Five years ago, in 2015, I decided, you know what? I'm pretty good at building things. I think I can make a set of wings that go up and down. I have my world record wings hanging on the wall. This is my bird, Scree. Scree, can you say hi? And these are some of my power maces. This one glows and swirls blue. This one glows with a bright white light. And then I have another one here with a changing light. My different Hawkman helmets. And my other Hawk